Welcome to the ECE Lab Onboarding video for teaching assistants. It's important to watch the short safety video about maintaining safe practices in our labs. Of course, safety is a team effort, so all of our students and lab instructors will be watching similar videos. As a TA, you're expected to be a role model for students by enforcing lab rules and by reporting any potential safety hazards, infractions, or misbehavior. And finally, for scheduled lab sessions, make sure you're the first person in and the last person out. If you have a safety incident during one of your lab sessions, the safety card is situated on the wall by the doorway. The card provides useful information such as emergency contacts and your location. Emergency calls can be placed by anyone. In case of a medical emergency or crime, dial 911 immediately. If you are calling for first aid attention, there are different contact phone numbers depending if the injured person is a student or staff. One important thing to remember is that first aid kits are no longer available in labs. Another important piece of safety equipment is the breakers. Each bench is equipped with power bars. Flipping the breaker on a single power bar cuts the power to that individual row of outlets. The benches are connected to the bus bar modules. Flipping the breaker on these modules cuts power to the entire bench. Because these are not easily accessible, do not attempt to flip them during emergencies. Instead, the labs are equipped with one single emergency stop switch, and it is located near one of the doorways of the lab. When pushed, this will turn off all bench equipment and computers, but has no effect on ceiling lights or wall outlets. To restore power, push and twist the button. Students are instructed to wait for a TA to restore power. As we're already talking about safety, let's go over what you should do in case of a fire or earthquake. In case of a fire or earthquake, follow the same instructions as provided in the undergraduate safety training video. Alert the students in the lab to evacuate the building and follow directions from fire wardens. In case of an earthquake, it's important to remember, do not panic. If you're indoors, drop under a sturdy piece of furniture, like the lab benches. During an emergency, you are only responsible for your own safety. Always follow the directions from the fire wardens and emergency responders. All students are instructed to follow a set of basic safety rules in the lab. As a TA, it is your job to follow and enforce these rules. You can ask the course instructor what penalties apply to transgressions in their course. Prior to your first lab session, it's important that you check your access and make sure the students have appropriate access. If you or the students don't have access, you can send a ticket to access@ece.ubc.ca. In some courses, lab access is only given to the TA and restricted for the students. If this is the case for your lab session, you can open the door flap and close it at the end. This ensures the students can enter and leave during the lab session. And finally, it is important that nothing obstructs the main door during a lab session. All ECE students must complete a mandatory safety training module at the start of their second year. To work in the labs, they must pass this course and will receive a sticker on their card as proof of completion. Food and drinks are not allowed while in the lab. They must be stowed away and cannot be consumed at any time. However, in the computer labs, drinks are allowed if they're held in spill-proof containers. When required, wear appropriate personal protective equipment in accordance with the signage posted in the labs. You should actively remind students to wear theirs as well. Before students operate the equipment, always check to make sure they're authorized. In addition, you should be observing and ensuring that students only use the equipment for its intended purposes. If you find a piece of equipment damaged or malfunctioning, promptly report this by emailing the course support ticket or scanning the dedicated QR code in the lab. To maintain a clean environment for everyone that uses the lab, make sure students clean up the benches at the end of each session. To help with this, we have dustpans and brushes located nearby. And lastly, don't forget to tuck in chairs before you leave the lab. Watch out for suspicious or unruly behavior in the lab. Horseplay or sabotage is strictly prohibited. If students are found to be breaching the rules, students may also incur infractions. You can consult with your course instructor to understand what penalties apply. That's it for general lab rules. Remember to complete the online training module and to always encourage best practices for safety and a professional working environment.